Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's WWE Monday Night Raw for January 14th, 2013, and this was the big 20th anniversary show. And it was kind of lackluster. I mean, they didn't have any special guests or wrestlers on here. I expected at least Shawn Michaels. I mean, they were in Houston, for God's sake. He would have been an easy one, and they didn't even have him. But yeah, I thought maybe Vader, something. I could understand if they didn't bring out Brock or anything, but I thought maybe Stone Cold. And that's why you watch a show like this, is you want to see what they're going to bring out. And really, they just showed a lot of old footage and clips, and that was it. Show had some good stuff on it, but for a 20th anniversary, it was really bland. I mean, this could have been any Raw of the year. So I was disappointed with that. And Vince comes out to start the show. Actually, the show starts off showing old intros to Monday Night Raw, which I did think that was cool. And Vince comes out and says 4 billion people have watched Raw, and it's because he's a genius. And Big Show comes out, and he acts like a complete loser here. I mean, Vince is making him call him Mr. McMahon, sir, and he's just messing with Big Show. And Big Show actually brings up the fact that he has this ironclad contract, which means he should be able to go out there and do whatever the hell he wants. He shouldn't have to put up with anything. And yet he's out there acting like a loser. And Vince is acting like he's complimenting him, and Big Show says, "Yeah, I have lost weight. Thank you for noticing." And I was like, what the hell is this? It was terrible. And I was just thinking back to when Big Show knocked Mr. McMahon out, and I know it was an accident, but still. So I don't know what the hell this was supposed to accomplish, but Big Show says that he wasn't prepared for the last man standing match, and being Vince's giant and his most precious commodity, he wants Del Rio stripped of the title. There's a Super Dragon sign in the crowd, by the way. So Del Rio comes out. He's dressed in green, white, and red, and he was clearly being pushed for the Latino audience. I mean, it was so blatant here. Ricardo has a trash can with the Mexican flag wrapped around it. Later on, they announced that on SmackDown it's going to be Del Rio's Championship Fiesta. And I'm like, holy shit, are you serious right now? So this was pretty bad too. Del Rio challenges Big Show to another match. And Big Show says he's saving his rematch for the Royal Rumble. And Ricardo throws the bucket of confetti on Big Show. Del Rio hits him with a Hurricane Rana and a kick to the head. And Big Show rolls out of the ring. That was it, really. I didn't care for this at all. Show some old clips of Raw. Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett. This was an average match, but Barrett won clean with the bullhammer. Booker T tells Eve that if she tries to get disqualified or counted out tonight, she will be stripped of the title. And she tries to seduce Booker T. He doesn't bite. He starts laughing at her. Teddy Long starts laughing, and Eve slaps the taste out of his mouth. This was awesome. Dr. Shelby has Kane and Daniel Bryan say nice things about each other. He brings in the Rhodes Scholars to try and test their anger. And they start making fun of him. So, I think Damien Sandow said something like Dr. Phil would have done a better job with Kane and Daniel Bryan. And he tells Kane and Daniel Bryan to get them, so they beat up the Rhodes Scholars, and then all three of them say yes together. It's Kane and Daniel Bryan, or Kane with Daniel Bryan versus Sandow with Cody Rhodes. And they were showing these tweets at the bottom of the screen that would scroll across, and one of them was from Zack Ryder, and it said Zack Ryder isn't on the 20th anniversary show, but Dr. Shelby is. And I just thought it was really funny that they put that on TV. Kane wins with the chokeslam of disdain, as JBL calls it. That was it. Mick Foley comes out. He's the first name for the 2013 Hall of Fame. And he gets a cheap pop in, but that's about it. Shield immediately hits the ring. Ryback comes out. Orton comes out. Sheamus comes out. Ryback hits Shell-Shocked on Dean Ambrose, and the Shield retreats. Ryback tells Matthews that he will not rest until he gets back, or gives back to the Shield what they took from him. And he says, "Feed me, Shield." His eyes messed up again. It's all red. And they play a video of some of the most outrageous gimmicks. This was pretty good. We get Eve versus Caitlyn for the Divas title. JBL is talking about how Eve slapped Teddy, and he says that George Jefferson peanut head. Caitlyn kicks out of the neck breaker. She hits Eve with a gut buster, but Eve rolls out of the ring. Caitlyn hits her with the spear for the win. New Divas champion, and that's it for Eve. I mean, it sucks she's leaving. She was one of the best divas they had. Now the division is really, really in a bad state. I know they got Sarah Del Rey supposedly in developmental. I don't know what they're doing with her. But they need to put her on the main roster as soon as possible because they've got nothing now. They've got Caitlyn, AJ. I guess that one Funkadactyl is a pretty good wrestler. And who else do they have? Natalya. Really nobody. Excuse me. I mean, nobody that's over anyways. So I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah, Eve's gone. She apparently wanted to spend time at home. She's tired of being on the road. She just got married. The usual reasons, and she wants to leave, so. Matthews is showing Brodus Clay what Punk said about him, how he shucks and jives for the WWE Universe, and he says he shucks and jives because he was born to, and not because he has to, and Punk's pipe bomb is going to blow up in his face. So it's Brodus Clay versus CM Punk. Brodus Clay, the she-monster, and Punk makes him tap to the Anaconda Vice. Brodus Clay versus CM Punk on the 20th anniversary show. Punk says that it's a fact he's had the title for 421 days, and he's the best in the world. The best vehicular moments shows Vince's limo exploding. Mick Foley's on the phone and The Rock comes up and they do some rock and sock stuff, which I liked. I thought this was pretty awesome. Vicky Guerrero comes up and tells them to be quiet. It's her show, not theirs. But wouldn't she want The Rock to do all his stuff on her show? That didn't make any sense, but Foley asked why Rock didn't lay the verbal smackdown on her. And Rock says, "Trust me." And Foley says, "Well, you rock bottomed me last year." And Rock says, nobody remembers that. He says, "Trust me, you will enjoy the Rock concert later." We get Sheamus versus 3MB. Sheamus has to eliminate them by throwing them over the top rope. And he eliminates McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. He's about to eliminate Slater, but the other two pull him out. So Sheamus actually loses this match. 3MB's celebrating. Slater gets on Drew McIntyre's shoulders. And Sheamus pulls Jinder Mahal out of the ring and Brogue kicks them both. Matthews asks Cena about Big E, and he says that we should be talking about the anniversary of Raw. He lists a bunch of wrestlers, including Meat and the DOA. And he says Dolph will get the F out. Miz TV with Ric Flair. Ric Flair's talking about the Raw when he retired, and then he just starts acting crazy. And every year, Ric Flair gets crazier and crazier, and it was in full throttle here. What'd they do? They showed a video of a bunch of wrestlers doing their catchphrases, including Snitsky and Kai and Tai. And Flair starts doing his limousine ride and jet flying catchphrase, and Antonio Cesaro comes out. He starts to put down Ric Flair. He was pretty brutal, actually. He says that he can't even afford to pay a bar tab. Ford doesn't stand for anything except his 4 ex-wives now. And Miz gets pissed, challenges him to a match. Cesaro tries to walk away, but Flair grabs him and starts chopping him. Miz hits the skull-crushing finale on him and puts him in the figure 4 while Ric Flair starts elbow dropping and dropping the knee on his jacket. This was madness. Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes. Cody taps the no-lock. Video of Eve yelling at Matt Striker and quitting WWE. AJ with Big E talks about all the weddings that have happened on Raw and shows footage of Edge and Lita, Stephanie and Triple H, and then AJ and Daniel Bryan. And AJ freaks out. She starts yelling about Cena, costing her her general manager's position. And Dolph Ziggler shows up and he says that tonight he's going to prove that he's just that damn good. And he's show off. That's what he did. JR comes out to call the steel cage match. It's Cena versus Dolph in a cage. this match here was unbelievable. I mean, my God, you thought Cena was Superman Cena before. I don't know what they're doing with this. I've heard different theories that maybe this is the start of... Because Cena had a bad year last year, they wanted to start this one off and make it look like he's going to have a good year, but they're really just building him up to lose. And maybe have him lose a lot of matches. But man, the way they're building him up here, I hope that's what they're doing, because this is terrible. Could you imagine a year, an entire year of Cena doing this, just kicking out of absolutely everything, all of this interference and still winning the match? This was insane. So Cena tries to climb over the top of the cage, but he can't because Big E is on the bottom and touches his foot. What? That didn't even make any sense. Like, he's got one leg, he's almost out of the cage, and Big E reaches up and grabs his leg, and Cena can't just fall. He can't jump on Big E. He can't do a double axe handle, anything. So that was completely ridiculous. Ziggler hits the super kick, but of course Cena kicks out. Cena gets into a tug of war with Big E, who's trying to pull Dolph out of the cage. Cena wins this too. Big E slams the door on Cena. He kicks out. And Cena actually climbs over the top of the cage and is almost out before Dolph can even walk out after having the door slammed onto his head. Does this guy know anything about wrestling psychology? Like, anything at all? Does he even give a shit? I mean, this was terrible stuff. I hated this match. So, he kicks the cage door into Dolph's head, and Big E is on the ground swinging a chair, so Cena has to climb back in. Dolph hits a zigzag, Cena kicks out. Dolph hits a top rope DDT. You guessed it, Cena kicks out. But I did like JR calling this the Impaler, which was a nice Gangrel reference. So AJ climbs on top of the cage. Big E gets in the cage. He starts attacking Cena. Dolph goes to hit him with the briefcase, misses and hits Big E. And then Cena hits the AA for the win. What bullshit this was. I mean, all of this stuff, and Cena still wins the match. My God. What is the point? Why have anybody else even wrestle? Just put Cena out there every single night. I mean, he can beat anybody. This was just really, really bad. I mean, you have to do... What do I need to even say about this? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. So anyways, Rock comes out for his concert, and he talks about his old outfit when he was Rocky Maivia. He sings about Paul Heyman having a little penis he hasn't seen in years. He calls out Vicky and sings Biatch, you look horrible tonight. And he calls out CM Punk. And he says it's a fact that Heyman has Twinkie tits. And he says that Punk's not God and he will beat him for the title. Punk charges the ring. They start brawling. The officials come down to break it up. I actually saw Fit Finlay out there, so I don't know. Maybe he got his job back. Maybe he's had his job back. I just didn't know about this. But yeah, that was it. They broke him apart and the show went off the air. So I thought this was a really great way to end the show. Rock did his thing. It was funny. And when he called CM Punk out, CM Punk didn't come out there and try to cut a funny promo. He didn't try to cut any promo. He just got pissed off and charged the ring. He didn't act like the cowardly heel who's trying to run like he was with Ryback. When it was Ryback, he kept trying to get out of the match, and he kept trying to escape. And one thing that was disappointing was no Brad Maddox on the show. I thought that would have been really entertaining. But yeah, overall, it was an okay Raw. Just an okay Raw. But it was not a good 20th anniversary show. I mean, this was basically your typical Raw we get every single week. It was special because The Rock was there. But it's not like we haven't seen Mick Foley all year. He was Santa Claus, for God's sake. And then we had The Rock because it's WrestleMania. But for your 20th anniversary, you really got to reach out and get some freaking names to show up for this. I've been avoiding dirt sheets all week because I like to watch the show and be surprised with who comes out. And I didn't want any spoilers, and I actually read something about DX, and I was kind of upset because I thought that would have been a nice surprise if they had like X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws out there again. and nothing. No Bret Hart, no Austin. I mean, this was just really a disappointing show. And I don't know why they went all out for the 1000th episode, but for this one they just said fuck it, basically. So I have no idea what they were thinking, but as far as my opinion of this show goes, it was pretty bland, and they definitely could have done a lot more here. I feel like they were really lazy about this one. So anyways, that's my review of this week's Monday Night Raw. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments, and thanks for watching.